Eagles are the only team to get an A grade this offseason in their division. You better believe it. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. You know, most people recognize that the Eagles had one of the best off seasons in the National Football League. Is there even a debate for it? Okay, the Eagles off season was tremendous. Now, they still got to go out there and they still got to put it on the field. They still got to go out there and prove it. But in terms of all season, it's been fantastic. The question is how does this stack up with the rest of the NFC East? Now, we're going to get into it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe for Eagles daily content, NFL daily content you definitely don't want to miss. And if you've been subscribed for a while, just double check. Double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Now, we say double moonwalk on this channel because that's like our finishing move, you know what I mean? The Eagles double moonwalk the Cowboys' ass. The Eagles double moonwalk this. The Eagles double moonwalk that. That's what we do. We double moonwalk. So just double check. Make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube acts goofy, and that's pretty much the finishing move. Then sit back, relax, and watch the video, you know? Now, like I said, the Eagles have had a fantastic offseason. There's no question about it. And the question now becomes, did they do enough to be the best team in this division? Did they do enough to overtake the Dallas Cowboys? There's no question. I think the Cowboys took a few steps back. The Eagles took a few steps forward. The question is it enough? Is it enough steps forward to catch the Dallas Cowboys, okay? And SI Fan Nation did an article, and they basically were talking about all four teams, and they were grading the offseason of each of the teams in the division. I kind of wanted to go over it because I thought it was really interesting and made a lot of good points. So the first team I want to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys is because I think that they took a few steps back. I think they've done less than every other team in this division. And they won the division last year. They were a contender for the Super Bowl last year. And the question is, are they going to be that good again? Now, I've been really nice to the Dallas Cowboys, their fans, Mark Holmes especially. I haven't really said anything in a few weeks, okay? I told Mark Holmes, you did a lot of nice things. I'm not going to do anything or come at you until after the 4th of July. Well, guess what? It's after the 4th of July. So now, Mark, now Cowboy fans, we're coming for your meats. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But this article, SI Fan Nation, they talked about the Cowboys, and this is what they said. All season grade for the Cowboys, they gave a C. A C. The theme of the Cowboys offseason has been losing more players than they've gained. Key pieces from last season are gone from both sides of the ball, including Cooper and Collins on offense and Gregory on defense. The offensive line was bordering on questionable status last season with the age and injuries catching up with longtime staple Tyron Smith and subpar performance by Tyler Badish. Dallas drafted Smith at 24, but that's commonly regarded to be a stretch. While it's possible Smith works out, the pick seemed like a reach. Dallas traded away Cooper and most of the receiver experience with him. It will rely on CeeDee Lamb in just his third pro season to take over. Tolbert was taken in the third round, but if he can't contribute immediately, the team is in trouble. Michael Gallup won't be available to start the season because of his Week 17 ACL injury. And let me say this. Coming back from an ACL injury usually takes you a full year to recover. So if they're saying that Gallup comes back Week 3, that doesn't mean he's going to be 100%. And if they're not getting production from their wide receivers, except for CeeDee Lamb, I think it's dramatically going to hurt that offense. I really do. Zeke Elliott is a year older, and I think Dallas takes a few steps back. I do. And it seems like SI Fan Nation seems to agree with me. The next team I want to talk about is the New York Giants, because the New York Giants are in a transition period, right? It's really hard to know what they can be this year, but I do think the Giants have done some good things. I think that they've got a good GM, a good coach, and I think it's going to just take that team some time. But I think that they've turned a corner and look like they could be heading in the right direction. We'll see. Here's what SI Fan Nation said about the Giants. The Giants offseason grade, a B-. New GM Joe Schoen was significantly hamstrung thanks to the prior regime bold yet unsuccessful gamble to stretch the salary cap to acquire veteran help. Schoen did stockpile draft picks, filling them with prospects that addressed numerous holes on the roster. He also weeded out veterans such as Ryan, who were no longer in the team's long-term plans, to straighten out the cap moving forward. It's going to take time for everything to come together, but the early feelings are that Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll have a long-term vision similar to how the Bills, their former team, were built from the bottom up. I think that is a great assessment, and really how good they do this year, I don't know. I think a lot of it depends on Daniel Jones, and can Brian Daboll get the most out of him? I'm not so sure. I think the Giants, I think they're in for a tough year, but I think that the feeling by Giant fans is going to be like, hey, we're headed in the right direction. But we'll see. Now, as far as the Washington Commanders go, I hate saying that name, was a stupid name. I think Washington had a pretty good offseason. I do. I think they needed a quarterback, and they needed to get healthy, especially along the defensive line. The defensive line was just banged up like no other. They're getting healthy, and, adding Carson Wentz could make Washington a sneaky team. I think Washington's the second best team in his division, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on Carson Wentz. I do. He had 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he doesn't choke or have his moments, but when he's playing good, he's playing good. And they could be a scary team. Yes, Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in his division, but I don't think he has the best supporting cast anymore. I think the Eagles have a better supporting cast. I think Washington is better, or at least at the very least more comparable. So comparable to Dallas. So here's what SI Fan Nation said about Washington. The all-season grade they gave them was a B-. Washington didn't do a whole lot with its offseason, opting for one large move rather than small ones. With Wentz adding $28 million in cap space, there wasn't a whole lot of wiggle room to make any more moves. While there were other potential quarterback upgrades to make this offseason, Washington opted to make an affordable one in terms of assets, trading 2 third-round picks for their new quarterback. Wentz has a year to prove himself. If he doesn't, the Commanders can tap into 2023 loaded quarterback class. And yeah, I think that's about right. I think it's all going to depend on Carson, and I think this is really Carson's last shot. If Carson doesn't go out there and play really good, he's gone. He will no longer be a starter in the NFL. He'll become a backup. And like I said, they got a lot of players, especially on the defensive line, coming back from injury. So I think Washington is a team a lot of people probably are sleeping on, but I think that they could be very dangerous, and I think people are sleeping on Carson Wentz too. I think he's going to have a decent year. I'm not saying he's going to be perfect, but I think he has a comparable year in terms of numbers where he throws between 27, 30 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin is his best weapon out there. He's had a weapon that good, and he just got a new contract, so we'll see. Now, when it comes to the Eagles, we save the best for last, of course, but the Eagles have had a fantastic offseason. Now, I'm just going to jump right into what SI Fan Nation had to say about them, and then I'll give you my thoughts. The offseason grade that they gave the Eagles was an A. The only A that any of these teams got, nobody was close, it went to the Eagles. Here's what they said. Somewhat surprisingly, the Eagles went all in on challenging for a Super Bowl this year. bulking up the defense and acquiring Brown, who is one of the top pass catchers in the game. They could have gone the draft route again for another receiver to pair with Devontae Smith and waited for the development to happen, but decided to deal for Brown and sign him to a $100 million extension. Same thing on defense. The Eagles could have been content with putting a second-year cornerback such as Zeke McPherson or Tay Gowan opposite Pro Bowler Darius Slay and living with the growing pains. Instead, they signed veteran Bradbury to give the Eagles a pair of potential shutdown corners. The addition of Reddick and the return of veteran Brandon Graham from a torn Achilles that cost him his 2021 season should help a pass rush that finished next to last in a league with just 29. Davis is also expected to grow into a three-down player and will be a key piece in the middle of the defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon's odd-man front. Now, I pretty much agree with everything that was said here, but I'll say this. I don't think this is a matter of the Eagles went all in this year. Like, getting A.J. Brown, having some things happen that happened in the draft, for the most part, the Eagles are still building for the future. They were able to build for the future, and some of the benefit of that was to build for next year also. So they've done both, and it's really hard to do. James Bradbury coming for 1 year, Tart coming for 1 year. That's because A.J. Brown came. And they look at this team and they say that there's a chance there. And I think Bradbury knows that if he goes to Philly, has a good year, he could go somewhere else and get a better contract. But this team didn't just build and go all in this year. This isn't like the Eagles are all in, they have a small window for 2 years and it's over. No, they're built for their future. They're built for the next 6, 7, 8 years. But the benefit of getting A.J. Brown and stuff is that you're also going to be able to compete this year. So I agree. I would go higher. I would say A+. I think the Eagles had an A+ all season. I don't know what you could do any better or any more than they've done. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, not to mention, they still got 2 first-round picks next year. So I thought the Eagles did a great job. But that's how it pretty much stacked up. The Eagles A, Washington B-, Giants B-, and Dallas a C. I think that this is very fair, and I think I'll put the link of the article in the description. But I think it was fair, and I think it's right. That's about what it would have. I would have the Eagles A+. I'd have Washington. I would have Washington B-. I would have had the Giants a solid B, and then Dallas C. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What grades do you give each of these teams in the NFC East? With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And of course, don't be a dingbat. It's how we vision. We're all just living in it.
We had enough time for one more play. We had one more.
Yo, you gotta be motherfucking kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me. We had enough time for one more play.
Look at this motherfucker
What are you doing?
running from
What are you doing?
To get off the field on 3rd down.
What was that bullshit?
That is not right.
Kellen Moore, he's got to be better, man. He wasn't.
Oh, that's some bullshit. What was that? We had enough time for one more
He
play.
had an opportunity to win that game at the end.
But the referee screwed us.
Away, but, you know, this is just
The brother screwed us.
You know, I'm upset, but
The brother screwed
it is what it
us.
is, man.
At least they fought back and tried.
Only Cowboys games.
Yeah, you
The
literally.
brother screwed us. The brother screwed us.
It's going to end the way
We had an opportunity for one more play.